Hey guys, welcome to Fuller Consciousness. My name is Michelle Fuller. I am a transpersonal life coach, spiritual teacher. My graduate work is in clinical mental health counseling. However, I do not work as a licensed therapist. I am not licensed, but I bring all that knowledge into my work outside of the system of clinical mental health care, bringing in inner alchemy, gnosis, teaching that as well, and basically assisting, supporting you, and remembering who you are as you work on integrating not only fragmented inner child energies, but also integrating the truth of yourself. Because when we do one, the other one happens organically and vice versa. And when I say the truth of yourself, I'm referring to your source stream, your soul. I want to speak today specifically to women. And the reason that I chose to make the video this way is because it's already full of nuance and it's sort of winding and expansive in possible experiences. And I want to try to speak to as many of them as possible, although I'm certain I won't cover all. And if I bring in men to this conversation as well, it would be like a 2 hour long video. So I will probably make a separate one for men. This video is going to be focused on air and fire energies for the feminine here now. Okay, for those of you who are women, who identify as women, who have been socialized, programmed, conditioned inside of this matrix system as first a little girl and then a woman. And so my hope is to assist you in pulling in some more balanced air and fire energies, which are masculine principles, just as water and earth energies are feminine principles. We all have all within us, okay? It's just when we come to this realm and we receive relative and relevant conditioning based on our gender, um, a lot of times the opposite energies will either be less accessible or those energies will be distorted in our understanding of them. And then also, even the energies that we might identify more with, like earth and water, for example, for women, water being emotions, creativity, things like that. Earth referring to the physical body, right? The matter, really, just matter, and your ability to, birth something into creation. Also, your safety, stability, things like that. Um, those principles will also be distorted simply because if you haven't integrated balanced air and fire energies, then it's sort of like the earth and water energies, elements within you as energies, like as how you experience yourself and how you experience this realm, will either be um, sort of closed, if you will, if we want to relate it even to the lower chakras, or open in a sense that, we don't feel stable. We feel emotionally inside muddy waters all the time, things like that. We don't feel clear on things. We don't feel safe to move and be and do from ourselves. We might have a difficult time making decisions, things like that. So everything feeds everything else. Okay. It's totally awesome if we are working on earth and water energies, but it's also important to bring in air and fire. And this is the divine union within. And this is the representation of your true cohesive source stream that is you. So hopefully by the end of this video, you will understand how everything works together, earth, air, fire, and water, everything works together. But at the same time, I'm going to be focusing on the integration of air and fire energies. So I have entire documents that I send clients, and also those that attend my workshops receive that describe in great detail some shadow side and light side um, energetic attributes to all of the elements. Okay. And this video is not going to be about that because it would take forever just to describe those things. So for the purposes of for the purpose of this video, I want you to think of air energy as balanced thought, discernment, thought sentience. Okay. And I want you to think of fire energy as your power that moves into action and alignment with the truth of your individuated self. So we might say also authenticity. Okay. Moves into right action. So action as determined by your discernment, which here we could bring in an overlap with feminine energy, where we're also going to bring in spiritual sentience and intuition that overlaps with your discernment. Discernment being a masculine energy, intuition, spiritual sentience being a feminine energy. Okay. So think of fire also as a healthy, integrated boundary energetic. So this is going to be, for example, if something is coming into your realm that is non-beneficial for you, that you did not create, okay? It's just sort of situations or maybe others around you that are acting out their wounds, their inner child fragmentation. Um, this is going to be a space where you are going to recognize some nuance between distorted feminine energy, okay, which might come from feeling ungrounded, feeling unsafe, feeling unstable, unsteady, really survival even, okay, or unstable water energy, okay, which is going to be just your emotions are all over the place. Um, you are not in your creator energy. You're just thinking about how to respond to sort of like what's coming at you. And you're having a lot of really big emotional responses that feel like trauma responses, fight, flight, freeze, fawn. Um, and so when we start to pull in these masculine energies of balanced thought and discernment and powerful, your power, your empowerment action, right action, um, those energies are going to help balance the feminine energies that are perhaps overactivated, maybe underactivated, but just energetically, you're not feeling like you're in your power and like you can navigate situations in a way that feels like you're in alignment with yourself, which we might also call dharma. And I'm just using that term to conceptualize things, to give things sort of a framework. Okay. Um, when I use dharma, I'm simply referring to, my perspective of it, which is just that you're in alignment with yourself, your soul, your source stream, who you are, who you be, and also your missions, your purposes here in the world. And a lot of times when I say things like that, I've received some pushback in the past. Well, you don't have to do anything, you just have to be. Well, maybe that's true for your source stream. Like, I'm not here to tell anyone who you are or that you have to do anything. Okay. You need to know for yourself. So if you feel like you're someone that is just here to be and just enjoy and smell the roses and all of that and just have the experience of being human, and just being you from that space, that's absolutely beautiful. Okay. But there are a lot of source streams here now who know, and they've always known, they've always felt it within them that they are here for some sort of purpose. They have their own missions here, things like that. Okay. And all you got to do is look around at the world, the realm, to see the truth of that reflected back to you if you do feel that way about yourself. Okay. So, so back to this concept of dharma. Um, I want to start before I get more into sort of the air and fire aspect. I want to start by pointing out that if you have been programmed um, as a girl and a woman in this realm to be a people pleaser, to take care of everyone else, that your needs don't matter, your preferences don't matter, your emotions are silly, the way you think about things is stupid. You know, maybe you received a lot of criticism, things like that. Um, if you have if you have an awareness for feeling a lot of guilt, for shame holography, if you are someone who just innately, organically, um, on this awakening path, on this consciousness path, on this integration path, has found it very easy to immediately go within, an awareness, you know, if something's happening in my realm, well, this is pointing to some inner work that I can do. So you're not one who typically blames or projects. And if you do, you have awareness for it and you go within. If you're someone who is conscientious, open-hearted, if you know that you do have good intentions and that you lead from your heart space, not that you're perfect, right? But you know these things about yourself, then it's really common, and I'm saying this after working with others for over 10 years now, supporting many, 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 okay, hundreds of people. It's very common to, at a certain place, space, aspect of your path here, your integration path, your consciousness path, um, to start perceiving everything. This is a trap, okay? So bear with me here. Start to perceiving everything that's coming into your realm as like more stuff that's pointing at you that you should be going in about. No, I'm not saying that's not true on some level, okay? But there are nuances here, so bear with me. You might be looking at it as like karma. You might be looking at it as like, okay, so I have an understanding that karma is unconscious momentum, right? It's just basically energy feedback looping around, based on something that I created in the past. You probably had to navigate a lot of that, like decisions you made when you were unconscious or when you were less conscious or when you were still programmed with um, um, mind programs that you have since identified and dissolved. Um, and that's all like really beautiful, okay? But at some point on your path, if you have been sincerely doing that work, genuinely doing that inner work, you are going to get to a place, this is very important, where it's not sort of that karmic feedback loop that you're experiencing. And just as a disclaimer, I say karma lightly as well. It's just the word that I'm using to describe this energy, okay? Um, it's not that you're experiencing, you're actually in your dharma, which means in alignment with yourself and your soul mission and your soul purpose. And I am covered in truth bumps as I say this. So all the stuff you experienced in the past that was showing up to see within you what wasn't integrated, okay? What energies weren't integrated, or to see within you inner child energy coming up and responding to things, okay? Um, all those things that happened in the past to help you do that were opportunities for you to integrate. So if you took those situations seriously and did the inner work, and you've done a lot of integration work, You're going to be coming now into situations that are not your feedback loop. You're actually in your dharma. You're actually having things pop up in your reality that are popping up because you're in alignment with your purpose and mission here. So, all the wisdom that you have accumulated, all the learning, the expansion of consciousness, the expansion of your energy, the integration work that you have done, integration work referring to both inner child integration, doing that active imagination work, etc. And I have other videos on that. Discerning nuance. Okay, I have an excellent video that not very many people have watched on the nuance of boundaries, healthy boundaries, and what I call, and I always say it this way when I'm speaking with my clients, righteous protection and boundaries. Okay, no, that is a feminine energy that does not feel safe. And it's in that energy is going to join pathology. It's going to join the energy of what is not love. Okay. If you've been walking this path for a while, you are starting to discern, and this is going to be that masculine air energy. Okay. As well as use your intuition. Okay. Which is a feminine energy, to understand on a visceral, felt, knowing level, um, the difference between I'm going to speak truth or I'm going to show them or I'm your karma or that kind of thing, that type of energy. Okay. Between that and an energy of I am truly here in love and truth. And I am taking responsibility for myself. And I am seeing that I am seeing how powerful I am because I know that I am love. And I'm also looking at all others around me and the entire situation that this realm is, everything about it, okay? And I am remembering and I am seeing that others are wounded and not remembering that they are love. So you're able to access a perspective of observation as opposed to judgment because you understand what this realm is. Okay, you understand what has happened in this realm, and you know that you are here to be the love, be the truth. And sometimes your truth won't be perceived as love because it's not what others who haven't done the work, either yet or perhaps they're not here to, perhaps they're part of, look, everyone's playing their role perfectly. I'm going to leave it at that. Everyone is playing their role perfectly. Okay. So being able to discern for yourself, using your wisdom, if you are truly self-responsible, if you know this for yourself, okay, you go within and you know your heart and you know that your whole intention has been to integrate more of the truth of you in alignment with the unconditional love that is you. Okay. If you know this for yourself, then just take a hot minute and take a breath. If you are in a space where you're still feeling like everything that comes into your realm that feels like uncomfortable, or there's a tension, or there's some crappy situation you have to navigate, or something like that, is because it's like you still. It's like it's you. It's like more lessons, it's more teaching, it's more shadow work, it's more leveling up. And I'm not saying that that isn't always, or let me put it this way, that isn't a part of it. Okay. It might be. Okay. And every single situation that we navigate, we can always learn and we can always integrate something more deeply. Okay. We can always do some more work. Okay. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is if you're looking at everything that is coming into your realm is some indication that you're still fragmented, that you are broken, um, that you have so much more healing to do, because why would I be experiencing this? Um, then you may be missing some vital information, which is that this now is because you've done so much work, you are in alignment with yourself and your authenticity. And so you are called to speak, to work, to love, to bring your power into specific places. Okay. And you're going to have to use your discernment to know when that is the case, because I'm not saying that's always the case. Sometimes, no. Sometimes it's something to walk away from too, right? Your energy is your currency. So you need to discern for you what is in alignment with you. And usually you're going to be able to discern those things based on sort of like the level of importance the situation has in your realm. Okay. So if it's something that's really meaningful to you, like if it's your children or someone else you really love, or, your goals or your sovereignty, your individuation, if those types of things are being harassed or accosted in some way. Okay. It's not happening to break you or to F with you. It could be happening because you came here to speak and do inside these places, and you are ready and you are powerful and you can do this. Okay. I'm just going to pause this for a sec because I got to look at my notes. Okay. So just to sort of wrap up this piece, I just want to potentially restate, because I already said this in other words, I think, that it's important for you to discern that when things, whatever it is, comes into your realm, comes into your awareness, comes into your life, it's important for you to discern that an interpretation of this is happening to either help me integrate more of my true self so I can like practice, like practice being my more integrated self, okay? As opposed to, oh my gosh, I'm a victim, or oh my gosh, I suck, I have so much more work to do. That is going to keep you looping in shame holography. And that is a trap. It is a trap because you're going to stay in a space where you're constantly comparing yourself to what you perceive you are not yet. And your perceptions are everything in this realm. So you could spend your entire life in that space feeling like you're a piece of crap still and you've got all this freaking work to do. It is a trap. Okay. I don't care where you're at right now on your path. You are ready to be you because you have gathered wisdom. You have gathered discernment. You are remembering who you are. Okay. Um, so just keep that in mind, how you're perceiving things. And I have another video on that too, although I mentioned this a lot in all my videos. It's called something like Windows, mental holography. It's all about your interpretations of yourself and the situations that are coming in for you. So if you are in a space where you are um, believing that whatever is happening for you is assisting you in some way, is helping you to integrate something, is an opportunity for you to practice integrations that you've already completed, things like that, then that is going to be just as true as this perspective of, oh my God, I suck. Why is this all happening? Blah, blah, blah. I have so much more inner work to do. Okay. So again, this is speaking to those of you who know for yourself that you have been sincerely on this path doing the inner work. Okay. This is not for those of us who really know that, like we're really feeling like we really have a lot of inner work to do. We're feeling, we notice that we're ungrounded. We notice that our emotions get, well, let me put it this way. We notice that we're reactionary. We notice that we're still like really codependent, maybe where we're reaching out to people all the time, feeling like other people are responsible for our thoughts, our feelings, our psychology. Um, or maybe we are feeling like we're responsible for other people's thoughts and feelings and psychology, et cetera, et cetera. So all of that is codependency. It's all inverted. It's nobody's fault. Okay, it's nobody's fault. There is like you cannot point the finger because it's just the nature of the realm because it's an inverted realm. This entire realm is an experience of what love is not and what we are not. And the whole point is to get from that mental holography, the lower mind, through the labyrinth, which has a lot of blocks and traps, right? To the heart, remembering what love is. So this is part of the path as well, is discerning, like, what is love? What is not love? Things like that, right? And that's like super freaking hard to sum up. And my perspectives on that might not be the same as yours, and that's okay. But what we do need to hook into as a truth is that love is not codependency. Love is not expecting others to abandon themselves to keep us feeling a certain way or to put us before others. And you know what? I will be very frank with all of you watching this here, okay? This realm that you're in, um, I recommend Yolanda from True Love. It's called True Love. It's all one word, I believe, on YouTube. She has some wonderful videos on this, really beautiful videos that she puts together. That's all about how this realm is a trauma center. 911, emerge and see. And it's all about the return to love, the return to true love within those masculine, feminine principles integrated within you. Okay. And this is accurate. This is 100% accurate. So we all have to be doing this for ourselves. Okay. And then when we do this, we're embodying the truth of ourselves. And then we can start to really dance together and really experience ourselves in this realm inside of what love is. Okay. So let me just do another pause while I look at my notes again. Okay. So when your fears compile, because situations are coming in, things are going on, whatever is swirling around you, okay? When your fears compile, it's going to be difficult to utilize the opportunity presenting itself that is intending to help you integrate. And it is more important now than ever to accept the opportunities as spaces for you to integrate or to practice your integration. Because there are two things that are super important right now. And one of them is returning to love, and the other is remembering who you are. Okay. And when enough of us do this, everything falls into place. So I have a quick list. I'm just going to go over this really quick before I move into more of the air and fire energies. Potential refusal of the opportunity to help you integrate or to practice your integration can look like number one, avoidance, which is going to be like a flight trauma response, immersing yourself in other thoughts and tasks. A fight trauma response, this is going to be reactionary energy, likely what I call maiden energy. You might also call this inner child energy, but I'm speaking of maiden, mother, and crone energy, the archetypes of those and how they present in us as women, and having discernment and wisdom about what is useful at, different times. Also shadow and light versions of those energies, which exist across a spectrums. Okay. So reactionary energy that is going to enter the vortex of whatever the situation is, as opposed to you commanding it, as opposed to you taking your power back and commanding it. And so this might result in compounding the issue, um, maybe creating more unconscious momentum that you're going to have to navigate later. Okay. Both inside of this particular situation or maybe inside other situations that follow, because that might happen because it's intending to provide you the same energetic energy as an opportunity for integration. So this is going to look like our patterns, cycles, things like this that we can recognize. Okay. Dissociation, um, or a freeze trauma response. So this might be resuming addiction, substance abuse, substance use, identifying. When I say identifying, I mean like in your mind, you're identifying as this, identifying with depression or anxiety so emphatically that it takes you out of your game, or maybe just by numbing, like by leaving the room, like just, scrolling or something on your phone all the time, watching other people's creations instead of being present in your own life. Then there's the people-pleasing fawn response, um, which is utilized as just another adaptation to avoid conflicts. And then, you're going to end up in your own head with all of it because you didn't actually handle it from your authentic self. Okay. Um, Also misinterpretations. So, misinterpretations of fear boundaries and love boundaries. Okay. So this might be another another way that refusing the opportunity to help you integrate or to practice your integrations might look. And this is going to be where it's like you're telling yourself that like, this is bullshit. Like I don't need to deal with any of this. How I don't know, like whatever way that you might navigate the situation that is not really in alignment with the powerful truth of your heart-centered self. And you're going to call that truth, but it's really fear. Okay. Um, you might be like, oh, I have a boundary here, but you're not actually navigating the situation and bringing yourself to it as you would see would be beneficial to yourself, to the realm, to the energies of the realm, if you were empowered, if you were in the truth of yourself, if you weren't afraid. Okay. And again, as I said before too, if we're feeling guilty, if we're feeling like everything is our fault all the time, which as I said in the beginning of the video, not all of these examples are going to be for everybody. Okay. I've got some homies who are like, you ladies are, there's none of that going on, and there's never been any of that going on because of the way that you were conditioned or programmed in this realm. You just didn't have to get through that. You didn't have to get through that aspect of the labyrinth. A lot of this also, you guys, can also be our astrology, our personal astrology, different energies that we came in with. Some of us are really strong in, um, air and earth energies, say, for example, but there's like barely any fire, or let's say, I sat with someone recently who had this going on, like the only Aries that she had in her chart was, Chiron, the wounded healer, So, and that, that was all about like a lack of self-worth and feeling like she didn't matter at all. Nothing she thought mattered, things like that. Which, if you're familiar with astrology at all, where your Chiron is also points to your greatest power if you're able to do the work, right? Okay, so a misinterpretation of fear boundaries and love boundaries. Um, Another way this might look is if you're like, oh, I have a boundary about that. I have a boundary about that. I have a boundary about that. But it's not a boundary, it's a preference. And you're calling it a boundary so that you can control other people and make them responsible for how you feel and think in your psychology, your emotions, all of it. Okay. So that's another example. That's not a self-loving boundary, that's control. Because when we are empowered, and in our own heart centers, and we've done the work so that we know who we are and we're able to manage ourselves and be responsible for ourselves, we don't have a litany of boundaries. Boundaries come in to say, my sovereignty is being violated right now. not the other way, not where you need to do it like this, you need to speak like this, you need to think like this. I don't like the way you're breathing. You just, you know, made a weird noise when you sat down at the table. I don't like the way you drive, like that kind of crap. Okay. Those are not boundaries. That is control. And there are other choices that we can make to align with our preferences. That is a whole other video. But just to make the distinction between fear boundaries and love boundaries are going to be like, okay, this is not loving right now. I see what is going on. And there's a lot of this to speak to because, like, every single system is inverted. Like, people are walking around playing out inner child fragmentation, wounds, projections, and no idea that they're doing it, you know? So love boundaries would be being able to address these from a place of love and understanding, but speaking your truth and being in your power with it. And again, like I said before, it might not be perceived as love, but you have to discern for you, and only you know the energy that you're bringing to the place. Are you bringing maiden energy? Are you bringing unsafe inner child, father wound energy? You're not here, ain't me, Or are you bringing your queen? Are you bringing your king? Are you bringing your empowered integrated source stream, the truth of who you are? Okay, so another example um, might be the blame trap and projection, which I kind of already talked about that. I have like a list, but I kind of already went over that. But that's going to be where we're just like projecting onto other people, having expectations that other people keep us comfortable and blaming everybody for everything. There's no need to blame when you're looking at every situation from a bird's eye view perspective. When you're able to see with your discernment and your wisdom why things are happening, the root of things which are systemic and part of this realm, there isn't blame, but there also is not an avoidance of you speaking love and truth from what you see. Okay. Um, And of course, you're doing the inner work to ensure that there isn't projection taking place, that you're seeing things clearly. Okay. Um, Another one, which relates to what I was saying before about shame holography, guilt holography, is the pedestal trap in projection. So that's going to be where you're like putting someone on a pedestal and playing out some sort of redemption fantasy. This happens a lot in romantic relationships, you know, some sort of redemption fantasy, father wound, mother wound, whatever. And then, sort of like the truth comes out and you're just going to start projecting, um, as opposed to going within in that moment and seeing what it's trying to help you integrate. And then the opposite could happen too, where like maybe you've done the integration work. And so this is happening for you to speak because it's in your realm to model love, to model truth. But if you have a lot of shame and guilt and you're like, oh, this is pointing to something that I have to still fix in me, I'm so broken, like you're going to miss it. You're not going to see yourself clearly. And so, again, that distinction between karma and dharma. Okay. So, a more advanced version of feeling too afraid, like fears compiling and not being able to navigate situations from a perspective of this is either helping me integrate more fully, or this is an opportunity to use these energies that I've integrated in a way that is beneficial all around. Okay. A more advanced version, like if you've really been on this path for a while, you've really been doing this work, might be just unawareness for nuance and inner alchemy. So the balancing of energies that you're being asked to discern. And this may also correspond with not trusting yourself or trusting yourself to use right action, to do right action, in the use of your power, which I'm also going to call love, because love is power. not the distorted shadow version of power that we see all across this realm because the feminine principle has been removed from this realm. The type of power that comes from love, where you know that you are love and you see yourself and you trust yourself. Okay. Um, so inner child energies are always going to be at the root of that stuff. More active imagination, cannot recommend it highly enough, but also accepting the challenge and practicing doing and being within those spaces from the integration that you have achieved. Um, and your body, because your body is also a projection of the mind, all is mind, when you accept your work in that space, doesn't mean your nervous system won't be activated still. Okay. Your heart might be pounding away. Okay. But this is why it's important to do active imagination work with it also, where you're dialoguing with yourself. Okay. And that's, again, other videos on my channel. Um, but it's that inner work, it's that inner child work that is so important, where you are parenting your inner child through active imagination, plus combined with action. Action. It's time for action. Okay. Um, and when you actually do the action pieces, your inner child, let's say you are experiencing nervous system activation, okay, because you just accepted the challenge, you're here for this. This opportunity came in as is a space for you to either practice your integration, become more integrated, or do be from your integration so far. Okay, let's say your nervous system is activated. The very act of practicing these energies that you've been working with is going to feedback loop with the inner child energies as well. Okay. And it's also going to be functioning to pull in more of you. Okay. That air and fire, water and earth, balanced energetics, which is your source stream. Okay. So it all relates, it all works together perfectly. Um, all right. So let me just pause this for a sec. Okay. So I want to talk about air energy now, balanced thought energy. So if you notice that you are ruminating, and I'm going to make the assumption that everyone knows what that means. If you notice that you are ruminating, okay, and you are like stuck in a moment and your mind is just like spiraling out of control, and you can tell, like, my thoughts are not balanced. My thoughts are not balanced. Um, it is likely occurring because you are not addressing a situation with fire, meaning action coming from your power. And I'm going to emphasize your power because this also relates to your authenticity, your individuation, which is really, really, really important here. Okay, so your authenticity coming from you. Okay, so as we already went over, when I say addressing a situation with action, well, action could be running from it. It could be going into flight, or it could be going into fight, reactionary maiden energy that doesn't feel safe, that doesn't feel protected. Okay. I mean, action that is in alignment with the truth of your cohesive self. And so this means wading into the waters of whatever the situation is and setting it on fire through your heart space with love and truth, wisdom and discernment. Okay. But if you don't feel safe to do this, then you're also going to have to be working with um, that thought energy, okay, as well as earth energy is probably going to be really beneficial. Doing a meditation, where you are sending cords down to the earth and you're grounding yourself, you're rooting yourself. Pretty sure I have a video on here. I'll double check. I know I did one on TikTok, but about a cattail meditation, which is a really beautiful meditation that I use for integrated energetics within me. The cattail representing all four elements, the way that it was shown to me in my own visuals when I sleep at night. So the cattail is an aquatic plant. There's your water. It's rooted. There's your earth. It has a point at the top. There's your air. Swords, right? If you're familiar with tarot at all, if you're familiar with esoteric symbology, swords and air go together. Thought, right? And then the way that it was shown to me was like the brown fuzz on the cattail itself was like embers. It was like sort of on fire. Okay, so that might be a useful visualization for you. Back to rumination. So remembering, okay, I'm catching myself ruminating right now over a specific situation. I'm catching myself going over like what I'm going to say or what it's going to be like, or I'm feeling angry or I'm feeling whatever. Okay. Well, you need to move into action. There's something that you need to do from your power and from your love. That's why you're ruminating. And like I say, if you don't feel safe to do that, or if you don't trust yourself to do that, then, take a hot minute, take a breath. Okay. It's going to get easier the more often you do it, but you have to start to trust yourself, trust your heart, trust your intentions. Okay. Um, Air energy is something else that you can utilize for air energy as well. So I'll give you an example. So let's say there's a situation that you have to navigate, something like really freaking poisonous, and you've got to speak. You've got to speak to this and you've got to handle it. Okay. Um, and you're thinking about it a lot, but you already know, like, let's say it's a meeting that you have to have, and the meeting is scheduled for in 2 days. Okay. But you keep thinking about it. All right. Well, you've done the action, you've scheduled the meeting. You're going to move even more into action in a couple days during the meeting. Take control of your mind. Okay. And start choosing interpretations with intention. So as opposed to continuing to ruminate, intentionally choose to think about something else. Or you could still be thinking about the same thing, but with an air of gratitude. I'm grateful that this situation came into my realm so that I can walk in alignment with my purpose here, inside of my love, inside of my wisdom and discernment. This is why I'm here. I'm in dharma. I'm in alignment with myself and my purpose here. Something else you can do if it's really, really challenging is sing songs to yourself. Sing songs that are meaningful to yourself. Take control of your mind though. Okay. So that is air energy. If you work with me one-on-one or take one of my workshops, I will hook you up with a much longer list of possible ways to balance unbalanced air energy. Or maybe I'll make a video about that at some point too. So fire energy now is again going to be the action piece. Right action. Right action. And you are going to need to trust yourself that you know. Okay. And I can tell you for myself, fire energy for me was the last energy that I worked with. And I recently had another integration of it. And it is empowering, beautiful stuff. Really empowering, beautiful stuff. Because what is happening when you're actually pulling that in is you are deepening your remembrance of your soul and your purpose and your trust for yourself to carry it out appropriately and in alignment with the divine and in alignment with yourself. So any inner child energies where you might have doubted yourself, you felt guilty about things, oh, you're hurting people's feelings, you're enabling, you're coddling, enough, okay? Enough. And I say this lightly because this can be misconstrued by those of us who are still in maiden energy, who are practicing energetics that are not love. They're just righteous protection and boundaries. And we're going to tell everybody who they are. And I'm your karma. And that sort of maiden energy, inverted, distorted, wounded feminine. Okay. That is not the truth of us. That is not who we are. That is not who we are. We are unconditional love. We are source. We are source. That is not who we are. That is not why we're here. So understand the nuance there. You're going to have to discern that for yourself. Okay. So the more that we agree to the opportunities that are showing up for us, that are intended for us to work in alignment with our selves, with our source selves, our missions, our purposes, okay, our beautiful, unique gifts and skills and knowings that we bring, um, the more that you are going to be working with air and fire energies. And those energies are going to assist in stabilizing, opening, um, your water and earth energies. Okay. It's going to create a feedback loop. You're just going to be feedback looping. Just earth, air, water, fire, earth, air, water, fire, earth, air, water, fire. You're just going to be feedback looping. It's amazing. You're going to love it. Trust me, it's good. Okay. All right. So, any questions? Yeah. Post them in the comments. Okay. I can make more content like this. I probably will. I hope this was helpful. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, share. And I am sending you so much love. Keep going. You're doing an amazing job. Bye.